Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today is Saturday, so hopefully you're chilling out eating your breakfast right now, your bacon's crispy and your poached eggs are running in the middle. As it's Saturday, it means it's Q&A session where I try and answer all the questions you've sent in and I do my weekly update. Now my weekly update has got a little bit of a twist to it today, and basically I had a little scare this week and I'll talk about that when I get to my weekly update in a little while. But first, let's get on with the Q&A session and let's see what questions we got this week. So I'm Anders Mounjaro and I've lost 75 pounds now taking Mounjaro in just over 6 months. So the purpose of this video is not only to share my experience, share the knowledge I've gained over this journey over the last 6 months, but I also do a little weekly update. So we're going to start with the questions, and the first question this week is from Dandare8225, and they say, at what point does the doctor stop your prescription? I've just ordered my second pen and was surprised at the amount of detail required when ordering. Now, as far as I'm aware, Dan, they will carry on prescribing until such time as you want to stop taking it. Now, that said, if you're going to change suppliers, you're potentially going to have an issue when you change suppliers, because I feel like the guidance is a BMI of 30 and above. Now, I have seen videos where people have been refused it again, and I have seen articles where people have been refused it again, but that is mostly when they change suppliers. So as long as you stay with the same supplier, I don't think you'll have an issue going forward. I think they kind of expect you to move into a maintenance dose once you reach your go weight. So I don't see there being any issue. The amount of questions they ask, exactly the same with my supplier. Every month I have to fill in the same paperwork. I have to give my height, my weight, and a load of medical history as well. And I do the same form every single month, and every single month it gets approved. That said, my BMI is just above the limit where they should start asking questions. But they do apparently do a full medical screening, and they do tell your GP. Whether that's true or not, I don't know, because the way I see it is they're happy to take the money. That might just be my take on it, so don't quote me on that. Right, so this is a question off a chap who very often asks questions, and I really appreciate it because he's really got the spirit of what this is about, and it's about sharing knowledge and me learning from you asking questions, and really community based. And that's the whole purpose of this video. So it is my Mounjaro journey, and he's basically said, if you were starting Mounjaro today, what advice would you give yourself? And then he's tried to second guess what my answer is going to be, and I'm not going to lie, he's pretty much hit the nail on the head. So the advice I would give if I was starting it today would be, don't leave it in the fridge for 2 weeks. When it arrives, get it stuck in you, start losing weight. Simple as that. So if you didn't know, when I first ordered it, I was scared to take it. So it stayed in the fridge for a few weeks. And then I was brave, stuck it in me, and the rest, as they say, is history. So I don't know why I waited 2 weeks. I shouldn't have waited 2 weeks. And if I hadn't have waited 2 weeks, then I'd be 2 weeks further ahead of where I am now and 2 weeks closer to my goal. But that really is a good question. But yeah, you did guess right. Next up, we got a question from Sean Goodwin 3518. And he says, does anyone else take the pure moringa leaf supplements, and if so, any good? Now, I'm not going to lie to you, Sean, I had to Google this. I wasn't sure what it was. I thought it might have been like the old Teresa Green or Toby Larone, so I did have to Google it because like I said, I'd never heard of it. I had a look at it and it looks like it's really good for the immune system. It looks like it's really good for clearing fluids out of the body. If you have used it and you've got experience of it, just leave it down below in the comments, because I've not heard of it and I've not used it. The only supplements I take are multivitamins and the psyllium husk, and I also take creatine as well, but that is it. I don't take anything else. Right, so we've got another question from Flying Circus 808, and whenever he asks me a question, I'm not going to lie, I do panic a bit because he sounds very knowledgeable. His questions always get me thinking, And yeah, I see his name flash up on my notifications and I think, oh no. But they're really good questions and they really do test me when I try and answer it. So like I said, this is Flying Circus 808. And you mentioned various diets that you've tried in the past. Which ones were the most successful, and are you willing to try them again now you have more control with Mounjaro? Then goes on to say that he's lost between 3 and 4 stone in as many months with low carb and keto, and has remained at the 16 stone mark for about 6 years. And he's firmly in the low carb keto carnivore camp. So I have tried everything. I've tried intermittent fasting, I've tried Weight Watchers, I've tried Slimming World. And one of the most successful diets for me was a very long time ago, and it was the Atkins diet. And now this is probably as carnivore or as keto as it gets, and I'd imagine it was a sort of forerunner for keto diets and the high protein carnivore diets. And I lost a shed load of weight, but as always, I then put on a shed load of weight. You've got to live this. It's got to be a lifestyle change. It can't just be a diet. It needs to be a lifestyle change, and that's the bit where I struggle. And I more than likely will reach goal in the next month or so, and then the real struggle's going to sort of start for me. So 100%, would I try these things again? Yeah, of course I would, and I think I need to, because what it boils down to, and you know this, Flying Circus 808, it boils down to calorie deficit. And Weight Watchers, Atkins, keto, all these diets, it's all about the calorie deficit. So you need to put less in there and expend more calories, don't you? And ultimately, that's what all these diets do. Now, I wouldn't necessarily say that taking Mounjaro is a diet. It's the means to an end. It's a tool that allows you to get into calorie deficit when you've potentially got food issues or food noise issues, or you're just a greedy little boy like I was, and possibly still could be. So for me to be in deficit, I'm either going to have to stay on the Mounjaro, learn the new habits, which will still involve calorie counting, it will still involve some form of calorie deficit, and then hopefully I won't balloon again. So let's cut a long answer short. And yes, 100%, because I'm going to need to remain in calorie deficit or pretty much on the mark, so I'm not still losing weight. And the only way I'm going to be able to do that is by following some sort of program, I would imagine, or to continue taking Mounjaro at a lower dose. But we'll see as time goes on. And of course, it will all be on this channel. Before we go any further, I just want to say thanks so much for all the support this channel gets. I know I say it every week, mind blown. The questions keep coming, the comments keep coming, the videos keep getting views, and the videos keep getting likes. So I just want to grow and grow and grow now, so that the information I'm learning as I continue my journey, I can share with all you guys. I'm not the guru, I'm not the Mounjaro guru, and I'm certainly not a medical professional, and I'm still learning as I go. But I am 6 odd months in now, so if you're a week, a month, 2 months in, I've probably done that part of the journey already. So more than happy to share my knowledge and share what I've learned along the way. So if you haven't subscribed to the channel, please do. It really means the world to me. And now we'll get on with the next question. Right, so the next question is from Nikki T 6498, and it says, to microdose or not? Ignoring the money savings, is it safe deep down? Basically looking at dosing a 5mg pen into 2.5 weekly doses. So I'm going to do exactly what I always do, Nikki T, when I get asked this question, and I'm going to point you in the direction of a YouTube channel, which is called Fat Old Climber. And if you don't follow him, you probably should, because he is the guru of all things microdosing. The closest I've got to microdosing is taking a 3.75mg dose out of a 5mg pen, but I was doing that every 7 days, albeit it was a non-approved dose. I may, or I am looking at microdosing when I look into the sort of maintenance side of things, but currently not done it, not inclined to try it just yet. I know when I've taken a 3.75 out of a 5 milligram, I've had no worries whatsoever with keeping it in the fridge for perhaps longer than the recommended time. But as it stands, go and check out the Fat Old Climber. He's got a lot of subscribers, and he's got a lot of subscribers for a reason, because he is the guru. Right, so this is a question from Ashington Holmes, Australia 9304. It is quite a long one, but I'm going to read it word for word anyway. So it says, I love your videos, so thank you. Cheers. Started Mounjaro 5 weeks ago, and I've lost around about 7 kilos following a lot of your advice. I'm not a medical professional, wanted to point that out again. Changed my diet completely, all clean, unprocessed food, drinking water, etc. Also exercising loads, mainly bike riding, so happy with my lifestyle changes. That's brilliant. You're doing all the right things there so far. My question relates to going from 2.5 milligrams to 5 milligrams. 2 days after upping the dose, I was so ill with food poisoning, then literally couldn't eat for 2 to 3 days. I can still only eat carbs and can't stand the thought of eating anything heavy, such as meat or a protein shake. Have you heard of these symptoms, and does it get better when your body gets used to the higher dose? Now, I think this is quite a common side effect, not something I've come across myself, but I have seen quite a few people have issues going up to 5 milligrams, and that's why I always decided or try to avoid it. And if you watch any of my older videos, you will know I was Mr. 3.75, and I was that for probably 4 months, because I had this fear of going up to 5 milligram because of some of the horror stories that I'd seen on TikTok and YouTube and that kind of thing. So I try to stay as low as possible, and it might be that you need to pull back to 3.75 if at all possible. I'm not sure what the dose size is or how it's administered in Australia, assuming you are from Australia, but your name does kind of give me a clue there. So I would suggest that. And the other thing to do is try and eat little and often if you can. If you're struggling to get food in you because you don't feel great, just try smaller meals, and hopefully that will see you through it. And as your body gets used to the dose, then hopefully those side effects will drop off. But if it's making you so ill that you can't face food, you either need to reduce your dose or stop taking the medication altogether, would be my suggestion as a non-medical professional again. Right, so sadly this is the final question this week, and it's from ATQ08LT. And it says, I've listened to a podcast explaining what a slow responder is and how this can be changed. Is anyone else finding that this is hard and not what they expected? Now, from a little bit of research I've done on the internet, to me, it looks like the percentage of slow responders or non-responders is a lot higher than people think it's going to be. I think in clinical trials, they thought it was around about 9%. But they also reckon in real life it could be as high as 20%. Looking at the comments I've had from people over the last 6 months, it seems to me there's two groups of people that struggle to lose weight with it, and it's people with diabetes. They seem to be slow responders or non-responders, and people who don't track their calories. And this is not specific to anyone in particular, because it's your journey, the same as my journey is my journey. You've got to do what you feel is right. But in my experience of it, if you're not tracking your calories correctly, or you think you're tracking them correctly, but you're missing out a load of stuff, then you're not going to get yourself a deficit and you're not going to lose weight. It also goes on to say in the study that the majority of people should be losing at least 1 pound a week taking Mounjaro. I'll be honest with you, I'll be really interested to listen to that podcast. So if you could drop the link down below, I'll have a little listen to it while I'm driving around, because it does sound really interesting. But it may be the case that you're in that small percentage of people that are going to be either slow responders or non-responders. Again, not medical advice, not a medical professional. Right, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to give you a weekly update on my week. And I'll talk to you about the little scare I had in the week, and I will warn you, I'm going to be very open, I'm going to be very frank, I'm going to be very honest. And the reason I'm sharing it is A, in case anyone else has come across this, and B, you may have an idea of what happened and why it happened, just to sort of point me in the right direction. So my week so far, been really healthy, been really good. Protein's been absolutely sky high. Hydration's been fantastic, but I've not been to the gym this week. Now, I'll explain why when we get onto my little mishap, but not managed to get to the gym at all this week, and that's because I haven't been feeling great since I had my little mishap. So just looking at my notes, so this week I lost another £1, which seems to be the number I lose every week now, but I'm happy to take that. I think the days of losing big numbers are probably gone for me because of purely where I am in my sort of weight loss journey. So my current weight, I started at 22 stone 11 and I'm now 17 stone 4, and that means I have lost 5 stone 6 pounds, which is 76 pounds or 34.5 kilograms. So that is in just over 6 months. That's how much weight I've lost. And like I say, I was 22 stone 11 and I now am 17 stone 4. And I am, more than happy with that. Why wouldn't I be? We're still going in the right direction, and that's the main thing for me. So I want to talk you through my little mishap this week and see if I can garner any information from any of the lovely viewers out there. And hopefully you can point me in the right direction, tell me what went wrong. I've got an idea what it may be, but this is all about honesty, it's all about sharing. So I'm going to talk about it. So I'll give you the context of my week. So I was on call Sunday and I worked all night. So I got called into work about 1:30 in the morning and I got home at about 8:30 in the morning. Bear in mind I'd been up all day Sunday because it was a normal day, and that's what you do, you go to bed. Got called into work, worked all night, came home, had 5-6 hours sleep, got up in the afternoon, carried on with my day, went to bed in the evening, and no problemo. Tuesday, woke up a little bit muzzy headed. Quite often happens when you work overnight, so I get that, it's not a problem. Worked all day Tuesday and a couple of hours into the evening, got home, had dinner, went to bed. We're now on Wednesday. Woke up Wednesday morning, went into work, didn't have anything to eat, didn't have any breakfast, which is not massively unusual. As you know, if you watch my previous videos, I'll either have quite like a banana in the morning, quite like a breakfast meal replacement shake, or quite like some kind of eggs in the morning. So went into work, had a meeting at 8 o'clock in the morning, which was quite a big meeting, quite a few people in this room, maybe 40-50 people in a room, listening to a presentation from one of our big bosses. New big boss, seems like a nice guy too. About 5 minutes into this presentation, this meeting, I didn't feel great. Felt my eyes were feeling a little bit funny, started to feel a little bit dizzy and started to feel really, really hot. So I said to the chap next to me, God, it's hot in here, isn't it? Undid my coat and then thought, I need to get out of here. And do you know one of those things where you start thinking, I'm going to be ill, I feel ill, I'm going to be ill, I feel ill, and you almost get in your own head? That's what happened. So undid my coat, said to the chap next to me, I'm going. So in the middle of this presentation, got up, I was on the front row as well, climbed through 4 rows of people, got to the door, grabbed the chap by the door and said, can you come with me? Went downstairs, sat down, and I was shaking. It was literally shaking all over. I've no idea what happened. I've had 3 or 4 people say to me, it sounds like blood sugar. But what I don't understand is I'd done nothing different than I would generally do every day of the week. So why did that suddenly happen then? And I'll be honest, it left me quite a little bit rattled as well. Now, I'd had a headache for the day before that on the Tuesday. Going into around about tea time, I had a headache. And do you know you get those headaches where your eyes ache as well and you just want to close your eyes? I had that and I'd woken up with that on the Wednesday as well. Now, somebody said it was migraine, but I've never had a migraine, not to my knowledge, and a few people have said blood sugar. So I managed to get home from work and chilled out and then went to bed for 3 hours, woke up in the evening, felt like I had somebody else's head on, dull headache, aching eyes again, just wanted to close my eyes. And it's kind of where I've been since, really. So what I want to know is, if you know what it's going to be, obviously don't say, this thing's happening. If you don't just make stuff up, because I'll get scared. Was it a migraine? Was it blood sugars? Or have I just picked up a bug? But I'd really appreciate it if anyone's got any experience or, come across this sort of thing themselves. Was it a Mounjaro thing? Was it just bad luck? Was it just a bug? If you know, if you've got any ideas, you can give me any advice, please leave it down below in the comments. If it happens again, then obviously I'm going to take medical advice. But as it stands today, a couple of days, 3 days later, 4 days later, still feel a little bit muzzy-headed, but I'm starting to feel more like myself. So that's what happened in the week. If you can help me out, really appreciate it. Right, so thanks ever so much for watching. If you've got any questions for next week's Q&A, leave them down below in the comments. Really appreciate that, because I do enjoy doing these videos. They're I was going to say they're fun to do, but they're fun to do, but fun in a different kind of way. Sort of fun, not fun as in sat here giggling. Fun as in gets me thinking, and I like that. It challenges me a little bit, and I like that. So yeah, if you've got any questions for Q&A, leave it down below in the comments. And if you've got any questions for the Christmas Q&A, which I think we are going to do on the 20th of December, then leave that down below and mark it Christmas Q&A. So we want to, the whole shebang will be, are you going to eat normally on Christmas Day? Are you going to have this on Christmas Day? Are you going to drink alcohol on Christmas Day or over the Christmas period? Are you going to stop taking the injection over the Christmas period? All those sort of questions, ask them, and we'll do the Christmas special on the 20th. But if you got this far, really appreciate it. Like, subscribe, comments, bells, notifications, hype, and all that cool stuff. And I'll see you on Wednesday for another hot topic video. And I know what it's going to be. It's going to be good. So thanks again for watching. Like and subscribe. Have a great weekend, and I'll see you next week.